Jessica wiped the sweat off her forehead as she carried a tray of steaming jollof rice and fried plantain to a customer. The air inside Mama Eve's kitchen was thick with the smell of hot oil and grilled meat, and the sound of clattering plates mixed with customers' loud conversations. "Madam, this is not the part of meat I want," the man at the table grumbled, frowning at his plate. Jessica forced a smile. "Sorry sir, that's all that's left. Next time, you can tell me in advance," the man hissed, waving her away as if she were an annoying fly. Jessica turned quickly before her frustration could show on her face. She had been serving food here for almost 2 years, yet nothing had changed. The customers were still rude, the pay was still small, and she was still stuck in the same place. As she walked past the counter, she spotted Benita, her best friend and coworker, collecting change from a customer with a bright smile. How does she do it? Jessica wondered. How did Benita manage to stay cheerful in this miserable job? Later that evening, as they walked home together, Jessica sighed loudly. "Benita, I'm tired of this life." Benita chuckled. "You say this every day." "I mean it this time," Jessica said, frustration thick in her voice. "Look at my life. I wake up, come to this hot restaurant, stand for hours serving food, go home tired, and still have no money. Is this what life is supposed to be?" Benita shrugged. "It's just for now. One day, things will get better." Jessica rolled her eyes. "One day? When? Do you know how many people my age are living soft? Traveling, shopping, eating at fancy restaurants. And here I am, still struggling." Benita sighed. "Jessica, everybody has their time. Those people you see enjoying today probably worked hard for it." Jessica scoffed. "Not all of them. Some people just know how to make money easily." Benita gave her a sharp look. "Easy money? Be careful, Jessica. Not everything that looks easy is good." Jessica didn't reply. She was tired of hearing the same advice. Work hard, be patient, your time will come. But she didn't want to wait anymore. That night, as she lay on her small mattress in her tiny one-room apartment, she picked up her phone and started scrolling through TikTok. Her feed was filled with videos of young women showing off their expensive lifestyles. One girl, Naomi the Baddie, filmed herself eating in a high-end restaurant. "If your man isn't taking you to places like this, dump him, babe." Jessica's stomach turned as she watched. These girls weren't much older than her, yet they were wearing expensive wigs, traveling to Dubai, eating fancy meals, and driving flashy cars. Her tongue froze over a post by Kemi Gold, one of the most popular influencers in Lagos. Kemi was dancing in front of a brand new Lexus SUV. The caption read, "I was broke 3 years ago, now look at me. If you want to change your life, just do the right thing." Jessica clicked on the comments. People were begging Kemi to share her secret. Some said they wanted to blow too. But Kemi didn't reply. Jessica felt bitterness rise in her throat. How did these girls make it? By the time Jessica put her phone down, her heart was burning with jealousy. She couldn't sleep that night. There must be a way to make money fast without suffering. For the next 2 days, Jessica's frustration grew. Work felt even more unbearable, and every time she scrolled through social media, she felt worse. Then, on the 3rd day, during her break at the restaurant, she sat in the corner with her phone, sipping a warm bottle of Coke. That was when she saw something. A girl named Amoka had posted a picture of herself looking weak and sickly. Her head was bald, her eyes looked tired, and her skin had lost its glow. The caption read, "I have stage 3 cancer. The doctors say I have only a few months left, but I refuse to give up. Please help me raise money for my treatment abroad. Any little donation will save my life. God bless you all." Jessica frowned as she checked the comments. Thousands of people were sending prayers, sharing the post, and donating money. She clicked on Amoka's profile and scrolled. A few months ago, the girl had been posting normal pictures, laughing, eating, even traveling. But now, she looked completely different. Jessica's mind started racing. Could this be real? Or could it be something else? She stared at the post for a long time, a strange idea forming in her mind. What if she did the same thing? Jessica's heart pounded as she stared at the post. The donations were piling up at 10,000 naira, 20,000 naira, 50,000 naira. Some people were even giving as much as 100,000 naira. Her hands felt sweaty as she scrolled through the comments. Everyone was sympathizing with Amoka. Stay strong, dear. God will heal you. Just send 20k, it's small, but I hope it helps. Jessica bit her lip. How much had this girl made so far? She quickly checked Amoka's GoFundMe link. The goal was 5 million naira, and she had already raised over 3.7 million in just a few days. Jessica's chest tightened. That was more money than she had ever seen in her life. All for just posting a few sad pictures and a story. A dangerous thought whispered in her mind. What if I pretend to have cancer too? She shook her head. No, that was crazy. A terrible idea. But as she put her phone down and looked around the restaurant, at the sweaty kitchen, the peeling walls, the loud customers, she felt frustration bubble inside her again. Benita walked past, smiling as she balanced a tray of food on her hand. Jessica frowned. How could she be content with this life? Jessica clenched her jaw. She wanted more. She deserved more. Her fingers tapped against the phone screen as the idea took root in her mind. If Amoka could do it, why couldn't she? That night, after much contemplation, she stood in front of a small mirror, with a clipper in hand. Her fingers trembled, her heart pounded. The first cut was the hardest. Thick, dark strands of hair fell to the floor, one by one, until all that was left was her smooth, bare scalp. She ran her fingers over her head, staring at her reflection. It was strange. She had never seen herself like this before. Her stomach tightened. Did I make a mistake? But then, she reminded herself, this was part of the plan. People wouldn't believe she had cancer if she still had a full head of hair. She took a deep breath and reached for the wig she had bought earlier that day. It was a short, curly bob, nothing too flashy. She placed it on her head and adjusted it. Perfect. The next morning, she went to work as usual, wearing the wig. Nobody suspected anything. But she knew this was just the beginning. To make her act more convincing, she needed to lose weight, fast. That night, she sat on her bed, scrolling through her phone, searching for ways to look sick without actually being sick. Most results suggested eating less, exercising, or fasting. But she needed something quicker. Then she stumbled upon a forum where people talked about laxatives and diuretics, pills that made the body lose weight by flushing out water and food quickly. Jessica's eyes lit up. The next day, she went to a local pharmacy and bought several packets of the pills, telling the pharmacist she wanted to fit into a bridesmaid dress. For the next 2 weeks, she followed a strict routine. She barely ate, only soaked gari or a few spoons of rice. She drank only water and tea. She took the pills daily. The side effects hit fast. Her stomach twisted in pain, she spent hours in the toilet, and she often felt dizzy at work. But it was working. Her face became thinner, her collarbones more visible, her skin lost its glow. Every morning, she checked herself in the mirror and smiled. She was beginning to look sick. Jessica needed a convincing hospital report. She thought of editing one herself but had no idea how. Then she remembered TJ, the guy at the cyber cafe who handled special requests. The next morning, she stopped by before work. "Jessica, long time. Wetin you need?" TJ asked, smirking. "A hospital report," she whispered. He raised a brow. "That one no cheap, oh, it's 7K. She bargained and got it down to 5K. In 30 minutes, he produced a realistic report from St. Mark's Specialist Hospital, signed by a fake Dr. Okachukwu. "Good luck with whatever you need it for," he said with a wink. Jessica left, her heart pounding. With this paper, she could fool anyone. 2 weeks later, Jessica stared at her phone screen, her heart racing. She had spent the last few days rehearsing. She had studied real cancer patients, how they spoke, how they looked, how they held their hands as if they were too weak to lift them. She had even perfected the sad, helpless tone they used. Now, it was time to put everything into action. She took a deep breath, positioned her phone, and pressed record. "Good morning, everyone," she said, her voice low and weak. "I don't know if I'll make it, but I need your help." She swallowed, forcing tears into her eyes. "I was diagnosed with stage 3 cancer 2 months ago, and it has been the hardest time of my life. The pain, the weakness, the fear. I can't even explain it." She wiped a fake tear. "My treatment cost 3 million naira, and my family has tried everything, but we can't raise the money. Please, if you can help me, even if it's just 1,000 naira, God will bless you." She let out a shaky sigh, held up her bank details, and ended the video. Her hands trembled as she uploaded it to TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. She held her breath. Would people believe her? Would the post go viral? She checked her phone every few minutes, refreshing the page. 1 hour passed. Then 2 hours. Then 5 hours. When she checked again, the video had only 30 views and 3 comments. Her heart sank. The comments were just people sending prayers. No donations. No shares. She felt a wave of disappointment. Maybe this was a bad idea. At work the next day, she kept checking her phone, hoping for more engagement. But the post remained the same, low views, no money. Her heart ached with frustration. That afternoon, her madam pulled her aside. "Jessica, what's going on with you?" the woman asked, frowning. "You're losing weight so fast. Are you okay?" Jessica hesitated. I'm just battling something." Her madam's face softened. "What is it? Is it serious?" Jessica bit her lip. "I'd rather not say." The woman sighed. "Take 2 days off. Go and rest." Jessica nodded, mumbling a thank you. Later that evening, Benita cornered her at the staff quarters. "Jessica, talk to me. What's wrong? You look so sick." Jessica forced a small smile. "It's nothing, Benita. I'll be fine." Benita wasn't convinced. "Are you sure? You're scaring me." Jessica waved her off, feeling even more discouraged. She was already losing hope in the cancer plan. Maybe it wasn't going to work after all. She didn't even bother checking it again. Maybe it just wasn't meant to be. The next morning, she dragged herself to work as usual, tired and weak from all the pills she had been taking. Just as she stepped inside the restaurant, Benita and 2 other workers rushed to her. "Jessica!" Benita grabbed her hand. "Why didn't you tell me?" Jessica frowned. "Tell you what? That you have cancer," another girl chimed in. Jessica's heart skipped a beat. How did they know? Benita pulled out her phone and played the video. It was a video. The same one she had given up on. The one she thought nobody cared about. She stared at the screen, pretending to be shocked. "Oh, that. Jessica, this is serious. You should have told me," Benita scolded, her voice shaking with emotion. Jessica sighed. I just didn't know how to say it. Benita looked hurt but nodded. You should have trusted me. Jessica's madam called her into the office later that day. I saw your video, she said softly. I had no idea you were going through this. Jessica lowered her head, faking sadness. I know I don't pay you much, but take this. The madam placed an envelope with 20K in her hands. Jessica's fingers trembled as she took it. Thank you, Ma. Take care of yourself, okay? You can take some time off if you need to. Jessica nodded, holding back a smile. As soon as she stepped outside and found a quiet spot, she pulled out her phone. Her hands shook as she checked her TikTok video. 30,000 views. Her fingers trembled as she scrolled through the comments. Stay strong, sis. I'm praying for you. I lost my auntie to cancer last year. May God heal you. Please drop your account details, let's support you. Her heart raced. People were actually believing her. She quickly wiped her sweaty palms on her apron and checked her DMs. Messages flooded in, some encouraging her, others asking how they could send money. Then she saw it, a credit alert notification. 5,000 Nigerian nairas. Her eyes widened. Someone had sent her money. Just like that. Minutes later, another 10,000 Nigerian nairas entered. Her body shivered with excitement. It was actually working. Benita walked in just then. Jessica, what are you doing? Jessica quickly locked her phone and forced a weak smile. Nothing. Just reading some messages. Benita sighed. I still can't believe you didn't tell me. But don't worry, God will see you through. You're strong. Jessica nodded, forcing herself to look sad. Amen. But deep inside, she was already thinking about the next step. Jessica's transformation didn't happen overnight. At first, she started small, buying a few stylish tops, better shoes, and small gold earrings. She didn't want to make it too obvious at once. The first time she wore a new outfit to work, some of her colleagues immediately noticed. Jessica, you look different today. This your top is very fine. Jessica smiled, adjusting the sleeve of her new silky blouse. It was nothing compared to what she planned to buy, but it was a good start. Benita, standing by the counter, raised an eyebrow. Wow, Jessica, did you win a lottery? She teased. Jessica laughed lightly. It's not lottery. Just a small blessing from God. Benita nodded but didn't say much. Over the next week, Jessica continued upgrading her wardrobe, buying trendy jeans, sleek sandals, and even a new wristwatch. She loved the way people noticed her now. People greeted her differently. The compliments fed her ego, making her more eager to spend. She started adding jewelry to her collection, small gold rings, beaded bracelets, and a delicate chain necklace. Jessica, this one you're shining every day, what's going on? Benita asked one day. Jessica, please, tell me the truth. Where is all this money coming from? Benita, why do you like problems? Can't you just be happy for me? She asked, smiling. But deep down, Jessica was getting tired of the constant questioning. Then one day, Benita's words hit differently. Jessica, I hope you're using those money for your treatment. Don't go and be buying clothes and jewelry when you need medical care. Jessica forced a smile, but inside, her heart skipped a beat. Benita had a point. What if someone else started asking that same question? What if people expected to see her getting actual treatment? Jessica knew she had to act fast. The longer she stayed in that restaurant, the more people would ask questions. So, a few days later, she made her decision. She quit her job. After explaining to her madam that she couldn't continue because of her sickness. At first, Quitting felt amazing. No more waking up before sunrise. No more rude customers shouting at her. She finally had time to enjoy her money. But then, something unexpected happened. She couldn't eat. Jessica had been taking laxatives and diuretic pills for weeks to stay thin and weak-looking. Now, her body had adjusted to them. The first time she tried to eat a proper meal, it ended in disaster. She ordered a plate of fried rice and chicken at a nearby buka. But after a few spoonfuls, her stomach twisted in pain. She barely made it home before she was vomiting and rushing to the toilet. Jessica sat on the bathroom floor, panting. "What kind of nonsense is this?" she muttered. She tried again the next day, a small bowl of pap. The same thing happened. Now, she was panicking. What was the point of all this money if she couldn't enjoy it? She couldn't keep using the pills forever, either. She needed a way to reset her body. She thought long and hard before an idea struck her. And she waited for the right moment. She stopped eating completely for a day to make herself extra weak. Then, one evening, she stood outside her apartment door, breathing heavily. She grabbed her chest, wincing as if in pain. Then, with one last deep breath, she let herself fall. Darkness. Or at least, she pretended it was. Just as she planned, concerned neighbors rushed to her side. Within minutes, a tricycle was called, and Jessica was taken to the nearest hospital. The whole ride there, she kept her eyes closed, breathing shallowly, playing the perfect patient. After some time, she felt a cold drip inserted into her arm. Now, she could rest, eat, and regain her strength, all while keeping up her act. And of course, she had another plan. While the nurses weren't watching, she snapped pictures of her IV drip, the hospital room, and even a blurry shot of a passing doctor. She saved them carefully on her phone. These pictures would be useful later. For now, she just had to recover and prepare for her next move. She now had fresh content for her scam. Lying in the hospital bed, she spent hours editing and organizing the hospital photos. She saved them all, ready for later. This way, she wouldn't need to return to the hospital for a while. She could post them little by little to keep people donating while she enjoyed life. After 3 days in the hospital, Jessica was discharged. She walked out of the building slower than necessary, making sure she still looked weak. But the moment she got home, she collapsed onto her soft bed with a huge grin. Time to make money. She unlocked her phone and opened her social media account. Taking a deep breath, she posted another video with a long paragraph begging people to assist her with some money for her treatment. Jessica didn't even have to wait long. Within hours, the likes and comments poured in. More and more money was pouring in. And then, the alerts started coming in too. Her bank account buzzed with donations. Her hospital stunt had worked perfectly. Now, she could finally enjoy her money without worrying about food. For now. One afternoon, Jessica had just finished a plate of spaghetti and fried chicken when she heard a knock on her door. Her heart skipped a beat. She wasn't expecting anyone. Quickly, she hid her half-empty juice box under the bed and wiped her mouth. The knock came again, this time louder. "Who is that?" she called out, trying to keep her voice weak. "Jessica, it's me, Benita." Jessica's stomach tightened. "Benita. Here." Taking a deep breath, she walked to the door and slowly opened it. "Benita, what are you doing here?" she asked, forcing a weak smile. Benita stepped in without waiting for an invitation. The moment she entered, her eyes widened. Everything in the room had changed. "Jessica, is this your house?" she asked, turning in a slow circle. Jessica swallowed hard. "Yes, why?" she replied casually, closing the door. Benita frowned, scanning the room. The old, Worn-out plastic chair was gone, replaced by a fancy leather sofa. The small, noisy fan was gone, now there was a standing air conditioner. Even Jessica herself looked different. Her cheeks were fuller, her skin looked brighter, and she was no longer bony and weak. Benita's sharp eyes narrowed. "Jessica, are you sure you're sick?" "Benita, why are you asking me that? You saw the hospital pictures." "Yes, I saw them, but something is not adding up." She folded her arms and looked Jessica up and down. "First of all, where did you get money to buy all these things?" she asked, waving her hand at the luxurious furniture. Jessica let out a nervous laugh. "Oh, Benita, people have been donating for my treatment. Should I sleep on the floor before?" Benita didn't smile. Okay. But why do you look healthier than before?" Jessica shifted on her feet. "I'm just trying to be strong, my sister." Benita narrowed her eyes even more. "Jessica, I know sickness can make someone thin, but you are getting fatter." Jessica felt sweat forming on her back. "Benita, are you a doctor?" she snapped. Benita raised a brow. "No. But I have common sense." The tension in the room was thick. Jessica forced a weak sigh and touched her head. "See, Benita, I don't have strength for all these questions. I need to rest." Benita got the message. She nodded slowly, glancing around the room one last time. "No problem. Rest well," she said, walking towards the door. But as she stepped out, her mind was racing. "Something is fishy," she muttered to herself as she left. Jessica was hiding something.